Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be reviewing a Samsung television. This is the new UE60KU6000. Yes, I did say 60. This is a 60-inch television. Look at the size of it. It's a big one. Measures approximately 136 centimeters wide. So if you're going to go for one of these, you're going to have to make sure you've got a big enough room to keep it in. Comes with a decent stand. It's very wide. It was quite difficult to put together. You're going to need to make sure you've got the right sort of screwdriver to avoid stripping the heads. You can also wall mount it, and that will be my preference because of the size and the weight of it, and it uses a standard Visa 400mm mount. It comes with the usual sorts of connections on a telly this size. So what I'm going to do now is pull the TV out. We're going to take a look at what we've got back there. Okay, so here is the back of the Samsung telly. It's not particularly interesting, but let's have a look at what we've got. At the bottom there, we've got an antenna in. This is a Freeview HD telly. The next two up there, 3.5mm jacks. It does come with some cables, some splitter cables. These allow you to do either composite video, or if you use both of them, component video. So if you've got something like a Nintendo Wii or an older device, you can still get some reasonably good quality video out of that. Next up there, got an RJ45 LAN port. This telly does have built-in Wi-Fi. That's what I'm currently using. I do plan to plug a network cable in there to see if that improves the streaming performance at all. We've got 3 HDMI ports, the top one of which is labelled as an audio return channel. So if you're going to be connecting that up to an AV receiver, that's what you'd use. We've got a digital audio out, which is optical. And finally, there are 2 USB ports, one of which is labelled for a hard drive. Will provide slightly more current, so that's going to be ideal if you're going to be using the PVR time shifting functions. And the top one is just going to be for a standard removable flash drive. Now I do have a bit of an issue with the positioning of that. Like I say, that's going to be meant for removable media, but it's positioned well into the back of the television. So if you've wall mounted this, or even if it's just on a stand, you're really going to have to reach around the back in order to change that drive out. I suppose in theory you could get a USB extension cable which might allow it to dangle a little bit and get you easier access, but it would have been a lot nicer if one of those USB ports had been positioned around here for easy access. The television doesn't have a SCART port, which is probably no great surprise on a modern 4K telly. I do actually have a SCART cable down there. We've got a video player up here, but it would have looked rubbish anyway. Okay, so before we turn the telly on, let's have a little talk about the remote. Here it is, and it's quite compact actually. If I compare it to the remote from the old television that was up here, which was a Blaupunkt 32-inch telly, you can see that the Samsung remote is quite a lot smaller. Now this is advantages and disadvantages. One of the main disadvantages really is there's a lack of buttons. So in order to do simple things like enable or disable subtitles, you don't just have one button, you've got to access the accessibility submenu, and from there find the subtitle setting and then turn it on and then exit. So instead of one button, you've got about 6 buttons to press. If that bothers you, might be something to bear in mind. It probably gets a little bit wearing after a while. It takes 2 AAA batteries, as is pretty much standard these days, and they are included in the package. So that's the remote. Let's turn this on, see what channel we're on. We're on channel 4 HD. First thing that pops up is a list of recent channels. You can easily access the guide, channel list, on any recordings you may have made. So let's have a look at the guide. There it is. It's nice and easy to use. You can use the channel up and down to do a page up, page down. And you get details of the program up the top there. Little picture-in-picture display of the current channel as well. So let's pick one of these. Oh, looks good. Oh yes, Pointless Celebrities. Love it. Changes channel nice and quickly, and everything feels quite snappy. Okay, so having had a look at the remote and the TV guide, I stumbled across a bit of sport, some tennis for you. So let's have a quick look at how well it handles fast motion and sport. The remote does have a sports button on it, which enables the special sports mode. Let's press that, see what happens. We get a cheer and a football down at the bottom, and it automatically starts recording. Now, from what I've been reading on the internet, it's only really worked well with football, and the idea is that it records highlights for you automatically so you can play them back later. But it does say that if you're using watching sports other than football, it may just be a bunch of random frames, so we'll see about that. And when I first enabled sports mode, in fact pretty much all of the special modes on the telly, let's find the options for them in the menu. The contrast was whacked right up to 100, and well, it was almost unwatchable. So you're probably going to have to play around with the expert settings to find your own likeness for these. I set the contrast down to 70, and suddenly it was a lot nicer to watch. Let's see what it looks like. So, although I am only sat about 5 feet, maybe 6 feet away from the television for the purposes of this review, I'd have to say that the telly's doing an excellent job of upscaling the HD stream to 4K. There's no discernible motion blur here, but it looks excellent. It's very detailed. If you sat just a little bit further away, excellent job. 8 to 10 feet. The UHD upscaling, optimal. One of the features of the Series 6 tellies. Noticing some very small little artifacts in the video, and obviously that gets a lot worse if you're watching SD streams. There's a little bit of blurriness around big tellies like this aren't meant for watching artifacting when SD telly, are they? You're going to want to be watching videos, films. And we're going to move on and show some of the video performance now. But yeah, this looks excellent. I'm going to stop it there. Actually, around the edge of those plants, just a little bit of artifacts. Let's go straight for 4K at 60 frames per second. See if I can tell any difference at all. Possibly a little clearer on there. To my untrained eye, this doesn't look that different. Perhaps a little more vibrant around the foliage. That scene looks almost identical to me. Let's have a look now at some of the smart features of this telly. Often tellies these days are sold on their smart TV features. First one I want to talk about is labelled on the remote as Extra. And when you press it, what you get appears to be just a Twitter feed. Now, looking at the settings, there aren't any settings. It just says content provider, Twitter. You can't sign into your own Twitter. It's just what's trending, I guess. You can see 10 different trending hashtags. And if you want to, you can pick one of those, press the button in the middle of the remote, and view more tweets based on that. If something's interesting you, oh, talk. There we go. That sounds interesting because we've got talk. Turns out a boy named age 17 did all the talk hacking. There you go. You can go up and down the Twitter feed and return and keep browsing. Now, if you're not into Twitter, it's going to be a waste of a button on the remote, really, isn't it? Let's exit out of there. The rest of the smart features you get by pressing the source button. Here we go. Go down, and there's a list of apps. I think they call this their home section. You can pin other apps to this as you see fit. The ones included by default are Netflix, which I don't have, Amazon Video, which I do. I'll have a look in there later. We've got BBC iPlayer and ITV. I've had a look through, and for some reason there's no Channel 4 and there's no Channel 5. Now, they have been included in Samsung televisions in the past. I'm a little bit surprised they're not here and a little disappointed. I think if you've got all four of the main catch-up TV services, that starts to go some way to consolidating onto a single device. It's always been a bit of a bugbear of mine. You end up having to have different devices because not everything's got things like the Channel 4 catch-up service. I suspect that they're probably working on it. This is a newish telly. There's going to be a firmware upgrade in the future. But if having all of those catch-up services is a deal breaker for you, you might want to think about contacting Samsung and asking them if that's the case and when they're going to get around to it. We've got YouTube, wacky.tv, and then some apps. This is where we can download new apps. One thing I've noticed is that because this is the 6000, it's effectively bottom of the range of the Series 6 televisions. If you go to something like the 6400, in addition to apps in the bottom there, you also have a button that says games. So there's no games on this telly. Again, if that's something that you need, you're going to have to look to one of the higher up models. You might decide that 60 inch is too big, maybe drop down to 55 inch, upgrade to the next step up in the model. It's probably about the same sort of price. So let's go into apps, see what we've got. Here we go. So they're organised into what's new, most popular, video, lifestyle, entertainment. There's only 7 in there. It seems a little bit lacking. Lifestyle's interesting. We've got a weather and Spotify's there. Deezer, AccuWeather, there's a few weather apps, Capital FM. Yeah, not too bad on the lifestyle apps. Let's install AccuWeather. Open. According to that over there, it said I had about 370 megabytes available. Okay, takes you out back to the home page. There is also a web browser. Okay. And you can scroll around and go to things like IMDb. This is the mobile site. Don't know what it's being reported as. Okay, it's a little bit weird. Scrolling with the remote. I'm not sure about that. And the pictures are quite low resolution, presumably because it's using a mobile site. Yeah. If you want to do web browsing, use a tablet or something. My recommendation. So that's the smart TV features, really. They're good enough. I'm hoping that with a firmware upgrade we'll get the 2 missing catch-up TV services, and I'm sure more will come along in the future. Okay, it's time now to have a look at the PVR functions of this television. They actually seem quite full-featured at first glance. I'll talk you through what we've got. First thing to note before I start is the red dot next to the tennis indicates that I am currently recording the tennis. And that brings up the first problem. Straight away, if I decide I want to record Money for Nothing, I just select that and I can say schedule recording. It tells me it's part of a series, so I can do a series link, which is a nice feature. Let's go for that. Recording has been scheduled, and on-screen reminder will be displayed 5 minutes before the program begins. However, the tennis is currently recording, and this telly only has a single tuner, so I don't know what's going to happen when it starts recording Money for Nothing. Presumably it's going to stop recording the tennis, but it hasn't mentioned that, and that's a bit weird, because if I say, okay, I also want to record Tipping Point, I have no idea what that is, quiz show, let's schedule recording for that as well. It's also part of a series, but I'll just select this one episode, and this tells me there's a scheduled conflict, and it's conflicting with Money for Nothing. So I can either cancel the whole schedule, select an alternative showtime, that's nice, it knows that there's going to be one on the +1 channel, which it will be able to record, or I can cancel the recording of Money for Nothing. Let's select an alternative showtime. Let's revise the schedule to resolve recording conflict. Okay, that's all great, but it still doesn't resolve what's going to happen with the tennis. I guess I'll find out in about 50 minutes time. I shall update this video to let you know. So if I select that again, I can look at the schedule manager, and this is where we can see everything that is scheduled to record. So we've got lots of episodes of Money for Nothing, and a single episode of Tipping Point, and they're on ITV +1. It tells you where it's going to record to, the portable USB drive. That's the 500GB hard drive that I've got plugged in. I should mention the hard drive, actually. That hard drive was plugged into our Panasonic television downstairs and had been formatted for use with that. As far as I know, Panasonic use their own proprietary file system for that. When I plugged it into this telly, I got absolutely nothing. It's like it didn't even know it was there. There was no option to reformat it, just nothing. In the end, I put it on my computer, I formatted it to NTFS, plugged it back into the television, and then the TV is quite happy. So for those of us who are computer literate, that's great. If you know how to plug a hard drive into your computer and are happy formatting it to NTFS, great, you're laughing. If you're not quite so computer literate and you plug a hard drive like that into this television, you're going to assume that something is wrong. Something is broken, either the hard drive or the television. So it would have been nice if Samsung had given the option to format the hard drive for use with this television. We can edit schedules. Oh, yes, okay. We can say record 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after, if you like. 6 minutes, 5. Okay, or we can go to a particular schedule and remove that. Oh, that removed the whole thing. Didn't tell me it was going to do that. So if you remove one that is part of a series link, it will remove the entire series. Doesn't tell you that. And you can view details there. What's under recording? Nothing is under recorded yet. In this section of the video, I'm going to talk a little about time shifting to go alongside the PVR functions. Now, I've always had a bit of a problem with Samsung's implementation of time shifting, mainly because every time you change the channel, you had to manually start time shifting. So if you'd changed channel and thought, be watching it for a while and then thought, oh, I just want to rewind that, but you hadn't pressed the pause button to start time shifting, then there was nothing you could do about it. On my 7-year-old Panasonic Plasma downstairs, You turn the telly on and time shifting is on. You change channel and it time shifts to that channel straight away. I don't know why Samsung don't do it that way. It has got slightly better with this television. If I press the play button now, it does enable time shifting. There we go. We are time shifting. And now, if you change channel, let's go to channel 4 HD. Oh, Deal or No Deal. I can honestly say I've never watched an episode of Deal or No Deal. Let's not start now. But there we go. Without me doing anything, it has started to time shift that. So if you've missed any important details of Deal or No Deal, you're fine. I'll change channel again to ITV. Tenable. Another rubbish quiz show. But again, we've started time shifting. That was Warwick Davis. So that is an improvement, but you do still have to manually initiate time shifting mode. And that's every time you turn the telly on. I've turned the telly off. I'll just give it a few seconds. Turn the television back on again. And it's not time shifting anymore. If you want time shifting to happen, you have to start time shifting. I wish they could just put a little menu option in somewhere to say always time shift, because that's what I really want. There we go. Press play and we start time shifting again. I'm going to take a look at film performance now. This is the opening scene to The Martian in 4K, which I found on the internet. I've turned the sound right down for now, but I should say that the sound that can come out of this telly is excellent. One of the best I've heard out of a flat screen television. But of course, if you want to watch a lot of films, you're going to want to hook it up to a surround sound receiver. One thing that's noticeable, may even be noticeable using this camera, is that there's quite a lot of reflection of the telly. There you go, you can see me there waving. I'm behind the camera. Now, in dark scenes, and the black levels are very good on this television, but in some ways they're too good, because all I can really see then is me waving. I should stop waving at the screen, really. I should concentrate on watching the film. That might be an issue for some people. Perhaps tilting the television downwards. If you're on a wall mount, you may be able to tilt the television downwards slightly. It's slightly harder to do when it's sat on a screen, on a stand like this. Anyway, this looks excellent in 4K. No complaints so far. I'll turn the volume up so you can get an idea of the sound. It does go up to 100.
Grid section 1428, the particles were predominantly coarse, but in 29 they're much finer.
So yeah, the audio is very clear, very easy to pick out all the details. Speech. Right, you just watch the film, the video, and I'll just play this for a while, shall we? Ooh, turns out I'm rubbish at computer games. Certainly handles the fast motion very nicely. There's no blur. Turn the sound up. Make use of the there we go. Well, anyway, I'm not going to bore you with details of watching me play Burnout Paradise badly. Hopefully you can see from this that it plays games well. I would certainly like to see it with a more modern console than the PS3. Maybe I'll get one eventually. Okay, I just wanted to finish this review now with a few conclusions. First thing to note is that you really do get used to the size of this. Although we've made a big thing at the start of the review about this being a 60-inch telly and it's so big, having lived with it for about 4 days, I've totally got used to the size. We've watched a few films on it and everyone in the house thinks it's just amazing for watching films on. It's also really good at watching sports. If you're going to be watching a lot of SD telly or low resolution films, then to be honest the 60-inch telly isn't for you. You want to make sure that you've got some good quality media, and then this telly does a really good job. 1080p is absolutely fine, it upscales it really nicely, and if you can get hold of some 4K content, then lucky you. The apps on the telly, the smart features, they need a little bit of work. There's a fairly poor selection overall, and it's especially missing the Channel 4 and Channel 5 apps. There was a software update yesterday. I was hoping that maybe some more apps would come in. Didn't look like there was anything interesting in there. The telly does have some pretty good PVR functions. You can do series link recording and time shifting. However, it's let down by the fact that it only has a single tuner in the television. If you want to be doing a lot of recording telly, then really you need a separate PVR box. But overall, I would say this telly does represent good value for money, and I would give it a solid 4 out of 5. Thanks for watching.